11 gauge steel. It ain't light. Oh. Here we go. CNC Labs Super Longboard. I don't have this in the case because you may have seen in some of my previous videos I've had to replace several of these drivers. These keep going bad because I found out that they are overheating. Here's my current board. I've just been using, what in the world? I've been using shop air on the past few projects just to keep them cool. Now, I had plans on putting fans on each one of these. There is a 12-volt pin out on the Longboard for a fan for my application. I've been using that 12-volt output for this little relay switch right here. This little relay switch goes to the 12-volt power to power the switch, and the signal pin, I've had it plugged into the spindle port, and I set my spindle in my G code to 12,000, and when it hits that spindle, it'll trigger this relay, and that engages my plasma torch, so I can run the plasma torch on my Longmill. First thing I'm going to unplug is the power. Then I'm going to unplug the data, because as long as the Arduino is still plugged into the USB, the Arduino is still powered on. So even though I pulled the power out, you would notice that it is still connected in G center. But as soon as I unplug that, now there's no more power to the Arduino. And now it's disconnected in G center. Alright, on these two boards, the reason that I had pulled the Arduino off is on my Z is wired up backwards from one to the other. First I just unscrew all the wires, flip them over, stick them back in, screw them back down. But it's a lot faster for me to just swap the boards over versus doing anything in software or switching the wires around. Since I've got the SLB, I will be taking these Arduinos off, and I will use them in other projects. I will reprogram these with Arduino IDE. I can use them in smart home applications, light switches. I mean, there's all kinds of different projects you can use these Arduinos for. I can see that this is the Z, so I'll pull this off. And I'll just slide that into the Z on the SLB. Plug and play, slide it right in. And there's these little channels for you to slot your wire. Y2. Undo Y2. And we'll go straight to Y2 on the SLB. Y1. X, the last one. There's X. Alright, there's all the steppers, cable for the E-stop, because it actually has 3 buttons out front. To be honest with you, I don't even know what they're for yet. 3 buttons there, and then you got your E-stop. I'm going to leave it in the off position. Stretch your cable out. Well, once once I figure out where I'm going to mount this, it won't be moved around too much. I don't know yet. We'll figure that out. Alright, E-stop goes on the far side. I'll take all this back apart and mount this later. So make sure it's all going to work. Make sure my Z is in the right orientation. And it is USB-C. I wish it had a longer USB-C cable, I can tell you that. I do have a really long USB-C to USB-C, so I may have to go get that. I don't see any new devices on the computer yet. I hope this is in the same polarity as the original Longboard. Power. .24 volt, 10 amp. I do not, oh there it is, positive and negative. Okay, there, good. Positive and negative. Okay, yes, it's in the same orientation as the original Longboard. That's good. I have power on the Super Longboard. I don't see the light on the E-stop. I don't see any new devices showing up on the computer. Okay, let's turn the board on. And G-Sender still says no devices found. I've never seen anything show up on the computer for new hardware detected. Let's make sure. Still did not see a new device show up for the Longboard. Alright, I went and grabbed another USB-A to USB-C cable I had laying around the shop. I'm going to plug it into this USB-A extension. I've got a USB-A extension cable that I usually keep my dongle plugged into because my two monitors up here cause interference in my keyboard dongle. Alright, let's plug this in now, see what happens. Alright, power it on. Ah! Here we go. Alright, I see a new device, COM port 5. Okay. So, I was shipped with a bad USB-C cable. This is garbage. That's fine. We can work around that. Yeah, COM port 5, now it sees it. So yes, I was absolutely shipped with a bad USB-C cable. Which ain't a big deal, but I'll just reach out to them just to let them know. But I mean, you can grab cables anywhere. This is a short cable I got now, so I'm gonna have to figure something out there, but okay, those are a lot quieter. It's a little bit quieter. I have this set to 3,000 millimeters a minute. Okay, so it just works right out of the box. press the E-stop. I like that. And the steppers are quiet. No, stepper motors are quiet. Yeah, they're heating up a little bit. Not much though. To not have heat sinks on the stepper drivers, oh, Z. Of course, freaking Z's backwards. Okay, let's fix that real fast. I'm going to shut the SLB off. This is just a little Harbor Freight screwdriver kit. There's a bunch of the torque bits, screw and flatheads and Phillips heads. Does not have any of the safety bits, so none of the torques have the holes in the center for the safety screws. But all I need is a Phillips. Alright, super longboard is powered off. I need the Z. So let's get these out of the way. Come out of there. Okay, I'm just going to hold on to all the cables. Oh, crud, never mind. I need a flathead. That wasn't a Phillips. Let's see which one I want. I'll use that one right there. I've had this little kit for a while. Now, I'm just going to hold all the cables, unscrew all the screws all the way. I'm just going to take the plug, slide it off, flip it over, slide all the wires right back in. Flip the whole assembly over, make sure all the cables are pushed all the way in, no wire showing, and tighten everything back down. Yep. Alright. I like to give everything a little bend around, wiggle them around just a little bit, and then tighten them one more time. Make sure all those wires in there get fanned out under these screws. Just plug that right back into the super longboard. Like I said, that's one step you probably won't have to do. Now turn it back on. Always put your tools back up so you always know where your bits are at. Little Harbor Freight kit. I can't remember how much I paid for it. I've had it for several years. Super longboard is powered back up. Let's go back over to Gerbil. Let's go back over to G-Sender. Reconnect and bottomed out. You can't hardly hear the stepper motors. They are quiet. Alright, we're going to turn the controller back on. I heard the stepper motors pop. It's still COM port 5 and G cylinder. She's ready to roll. That was a pretty straightforward installation. Just unfortunately that did come with a bad USB cable. You'll have that. That's not that big of a deal. Okay. Right where I wanted it. Start